Mate, well, it takes time to build up the following.
Yeah, and that's why we've got 5 people waiting already. And welcome to everyone watching. Hello,
Thanks for coming and watching, guys. That's better than I get on any of my socials. I'm blowing up.
Or any of my live shows ever.
I know, man. It's so weird. What is watched online?
Or any of my live shows. Hold on. Do you have YouTube open?
Yeah, I do, dude. This is why we're getting this fucking feedback.
Yeah, close it.
Wait, do I?
Do you have YouTube open? Oh shit!
Yeah, I do, dude. This is why we're getting this. Who's got it?
Yeah, close it.
Wait, do I? Dude, I don't have it open, but I'm getting feedback now.
Here we go. Okay, is it good? I have it open. Sorry.
Oh, thank fuck.
I
was already feeling weird, like I wasn't tethered to reality, and then I'm hearing double voices, and I'm like, it's happening. I finally lost grip.
No, sorry. That was bad timing for your current mental state, for your detached mental state. Are you disassociating right now?
Mate, it's weird because I think I must have ignored my mental health for so many years, but I've suddenly become acutely aware of the problems. I'm like, yeah, I disassociate all the time. I'm like, but what happened the last 10 years? Why wasn't I unaware of it? Was it because I was an alcoholic and I didn't know what was going on?
Do you know what I think it is? Welcome, everyone, by the way. Welcome to Then I Effed Up. Thanks for joining us. Let us know in the comments if you're here. But you know what? In answer to your question, I think it's because the youth are talking about it now. So the generation below us are all like, let's use terms like disassociating and narcissism and toxic abuse and all this kind of stuff that we were like, that's just us. Like,
dude, 100%. Back in the day, you're at the bowls club and you're having a cigarette and then you have a random cry and you're not sure why. Now you're like, I can diagnose it. It wasn't just, I just had a little skitch moment in the car park out the front of the club. Do you know, now people are like, no, dude, it's a mental health thing. You can fix it. You should change your life. There's medication for this shit. But you know what I mean? You're not aware of the mechanics that I never knew. I just felt I felt bad a lot.
But now we're so aware that now we can time it. I went and had one in the bloody car the other day, total PMS moment. And I'm like, going to leave for a quick one, 10 minutes, then I'll be back.
Well, dude, that is the perils of diagnosing, because then you're on a life of like focusing on it, trying to fix it. And my new opinion now is just make it to the end. Don't try to fix the car. It's like running on the last bit of petrol. Just close your eyes, ignore all your problems, and ultimately you're going to be dead soon. And just, don't do any personal work. Don't do any growth work. Just make it through the next 30. Do you know why? Or spend your life talking about, how do I fix this? And this happened in my childhood. Just fucking ignore it all. Do you think that's a good idea? This is probably not a great thing.
No, otherwise you're pouring all this time and energy and money into a lemon. Just run the lemon into the ground. There's no
100%. What a fucking great analogy. You're putting in a sunroof into a lemon. The car's a piece of shit. You're putting a bumper on, spoilers. You're like, hey, dude, let's put a tow bar on this fucking lemon. I'm like, you know what? Just ride that rust bucket into the setting sun, man, and never even look out at the vehicle. Just push the fucking accelerator.
Angie's here. Hooray. Hooray, my best friend tuned in. Yay.
Mate, it's good that your friends are still there. I've burnt all mine through stand-up comedy. They're like, nah, we don't want anything to do with what you do.
What?
It's that classic tale where they came early on. Do you know what I mean? And you're not getting laughs talking about your sex life to very close friends in a pre-divorce state. And they're like, that was very uncomfortable for us, Andrew. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, there weren't taglines in there, but it's my truth. Do you know, there's comedy and truth. But, you fuck up. You fuck up with them, but now I'm better. But it's too late. They're gone.
We've got some new friends, though, on that. We've got Furphy. G'day, Furphy. And Dane's back. Yay! Dane says this may or may not be my new Friday routine, yo. Absolutely. That's what we love to hear, Dane. You bloody legend.
Mate, this could be a thing, dude. You've got to have like a bingo, a raffle. It's got a vibe. There's something about this.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
What do you think you're going to add to it? Because I think you should have drinking games and sort of make it a big event.
Yeah. Well, it's last week we had musical intervals with Wyatt. He just popped out his piano. Oh, it's Rodney. It's Rodney's here. Hey, Rodney.
Oh, I love Rodney.
Amy's here. Hi, Amy. Amy. So did you see my new piece of content this week, Wolfie? This will get to you eventually, but right now it's about me. Did you see my new piece of content this week about unsolicited guitar playing?
Man, I feel bad because I saw it right then when I was looking at the link.
Just say no.
I didn't click on it.
I don't need the sub story. Just say no.
No, but I'm saying I saw it, but I didn't have time to click on the link because I had been obsessed about myself today. And then I looked at the link, but I saw that it had gone mental. I saw people commenting. This is great.
It didn't go mental. It went okay, but I like it, and it was inspired by something that happened to Amy, who's just shown up, where just too many times to count, when she's been on a date or in a social situation, and a bloke's just pulled out a guitar. She's like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't consent to this. Like, what's going on? Yeah.
Dude, I love that. That's such a good idea that you have to ask consent to get the acoustic guitar out.
Because you have to sit there, you have to sit there and wait until they finish. It's assault.
Mate, I have to, what's the thing? Ongoing consent. What's that saying? What does it say?
Oh, what? Yeah. When you have to ask someone.
Enthusiastic and ongoing consent. Like even mid-song, there needs to be moments where you can they look back for feedback. You should be able to pull it at any moment. But it's always the same guy that does it. It's the good-looking guy that doesn't really chip into the normal chit-chat.
Is it?
Isn't it normally a good-looking guy?
Well, it's
where they're going so deep. He's memorized the cover of a song.
Yeah, but it's one of two types of guys. It's either the ego's too big or there's not enough ego. Like we were talking about this in the group chat with my friends earlier. Like it's either you don't want to upset them and go, that was really uncool. But some guys do need to be called out. It's either too much or you don't know how to relate because you don't have enough ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Or the really quiet, talented one, but they're so rare. It's normally
they don't play. The really quiet, talented ones, like, shut up, you know?
I think the worst, I don't mind, the worst is when they've written their own lyrics and they've just got a very thin grasp on, they haven't really reflected on their life at all, and it's just sort of cliches and, do you know what I mean? Just horrible rhyming shit. And you're like, what is this? What is this? You went through a 100 drive-through, you love your life, you know, it's just all these crap ideas. Have you had someone do an original?
Never.
I've had originals.
I'm just dropping that freaking link in. Oh God, it didn't work. I want to drop the link into the to the chat so everyone knows what I'm bloody talking about. If you haven't seen it, there you go, Dane. You're too busy watching Round the Twist on Netflix.
How do you know who the fuck's on this thing? I didn't even know you could look. Are people commenting?
Yeah, in StreamYard. You can open up StreamYard.
Dude, you're actually lucky. Like if you had lots of followers, then you don't get all the kinks out. This is the perfect way. Do you know, you wouldn't want like 1 million people watching and then you're like, fuck, I should never have done that. Like last week, you said you hadn't doled up. You know, that would have been captured for posterity. Now you can slowly work in what you need to do, don't you think? There's a natural flow. Yeah.
We'll figure out the format. It's really great because, like I said, I had my podcast about failure and I love talking about failure with people. I just want to see what we can add to it with a visual element, you know, what a picture to the story will add. That's why we're doing this. Hot Scorpios, hello.
Oh, dude, are you gonna double this back into a podcast?
Well, no, this will just exist as it is, you know.
The visual thing's good, man, because then you can see the actual. I grab my thing and go. They've taken it all. Do you know what I mean? You can actually have that moment where I'm like, oh. But I mean, fuck, dude, it's actually these tricks. These are great tricks because you put a camera on and then I reveal things that I wouldn't even tell my close friends just to perform for the cameras. And then I think you drive home and go, what the fuck did I tell her that for? I mentioned I got bipolar. I've never told anyone. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm a stupid bastard. And then you can't get it back. But you know what I mean? There's something about the lights where you fuck up. You're guarded in a group setting. I wouldn't say my failures. I just get out my guitar and play a song.
Yeah, that's it. Musician, if you can sing it, it's going to be funnier than if you say it.
Yeah, 100%, man. Have you had a friend wreck a song for you when they sing along to it in the car, and it's just off key, and then the song's gone? It's immediately lost. I've
wrecked songs for myself by doing like performance pieces to them.
Mate, I think, you know what the thing is, you know when people say sober up, have a water, if you get a group of people singing near me, I could drive home. Do you know what I mean? It fucking snaps me back. I'm never drunk enough to be in that moment. Do you know when they're singing Que Sera and this shit? I'm always like too self-aware. I'm like, what the fuck? This is so lame. And I just immediately, like a ghost out of your body, looking down at this group, and I'm like, I don't think any of these people are my real friends. Do you know, this is how I feel. Do you feel like that when people get too enthusiastic in a moment?
Oh, yeah, when it's too much eagerness to match the scenario. But, you know, I have to get eager about introducing you right now because we're 10 minutes and we don't know who the hell you are. Well, I mean, everybody does.
No one knows who I am. It's a fucking, I'm a door-to-door salesman for anyone listening. You might as well just put in Eduardo, or you could say anything. I've no real traction anywhere. So, I mean, there's really no point in intro.
No, Andrew Wolfe, everybody, is one of the funniest people. His tweets are absolute gold. I find you the most like biting, like on point humor and just unhinged, my type of thing, you know. And I rate you very highly as a comedian. So so there we go, a comedian that I rate very highly. That we kind of.
Mate, I love that. That's so kind of you. Because I think you've got that darkness in you, like your obsession with serial killers. I'm obsessed, and then I think the hardest part of tweeting is tempering that darkness, because I am actually really dark. And you know what I mean? I have to almost conceal it to get any traction with the tweets. I've always got to, like, my true self is just repulsive. Do you know what I mean? So I have to keep putting roses on it and trying to soften shit. Do you know what I mean? Do you find that with your humor? Like, your humor's too dark, so you have to almost turn it down a bit? Because I just like burnt toast. I like the nastiest shit.
I'm just not funny. So I have to, like, put humor in mine, which is a challenge. But
what do you mean? You're very funny.
No, I'm not. But your ones, yeah, I get it. But why don't you just said before about speaking your truth? Why don't you just speak your truth? That's what we're here to do tonight.
Well, I think it hurts. Do you know what I mean? When you say something that is close to your heart and then you look back 3 hours later and no one's engaged with it, but then a pun before they've connected with, and you're like, I took a real risk here. This is equivalent to getting a guitar out and saying, hey, I've never sung in front of a group. I think I've got something here. And then you take the risk and you come back and, like, just people have rejected it. I don't know, man. It's that rejection. And you're like, fuck, I swear humans, it's shared experience. I think my truth. But then sometimes, dude, I put, like, nasty shit on, pull it, and then I get private messages. Oh, I love it. But I think the ones that fuck me are the subtweets. Do you know what I mean? When someone's done something and then you immediately tweet about it and it's obvious in the comedy community what you're tweeting about. Do you know when you do a joke off what someone's doing? Do you find that happens a lot?
I don't understand Twitter enough.
Well, it's subtweet, right? So someone puts up, like, their special, but then you have a joke, but it's not directly about it, but it's obvious that it must be. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's about the title or
bitchy comedian shit. No, I don't do it.
No, it's not bitchy. I'm just saying you do a broad comment about, don't you hate this? Do you know? And it's not directly attacking, but it is on point. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was, it was yesterday. It depends if I'm in a bad mood, because I was, that idea of going to the cafe to write comedy. Do you know what I mean? So much of that to me is to be noticed as an artist. But I get it. Some people can creatively inspired, but in another way, I just feel like a lot of people are there just wanting someone to ask, what are you writing? And you're like, it's a sitcom. I'm great.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They want that validation.
Talent scout. You want the mayor of show business to come up and say, here's a Netflix special.
Dude, and they want that idea because they're on Centrelink. There's no real proof that any of it's worked, but just that idea that the local barista is going, he's a creative, he's an artist. I'm like, he's a doll bludger. He's a fucking deluded doll bludger. But I feel like for me, like, creatively, I have to be in a darkened room away from everyone in my own pain.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Just staring that pain.
Speaking of pain, Rodney's just asked for you to talk about the time you were outside the Lansdowne and Seizure ran you over. Can we start with that? Is that even a failure? I think it's a win, but I'd love to hear about it anyway.
Mate, I had so many issues. I mentioned this one on the mug off. I had so many issues with bouncers getting kicked out because of my temperament. I don't know if it's a mental health thing, but I always look drunk because I'm a bit gregarious or whatever, and I move around a bit. But anyway, I was actually hammered.
You're gangly.
I'm gangly, but I am an alcoholic, so it's all a lie. I was shit-faced. I lie the whole fucking time. But I always get G'd up with these bouncers because, you know, it's that many sketches on it coming in. Sorry, I can't have the list. But I was tying in the number of times that I had issues with bouncers. I've been chased in King's Cross and chased by one, and King hit about 300 meters from the venue.
Oh, shit.
No, they ran after me. But this one was, it was a continuation of this story because you end up goading them with your words. And I think what happened at the Lansdowne was the bouncer had said something, "You're not getting in," and I said something, and he actually was coming to attack me, and I stepped back onto the road to avoid him sort of hitting me, and got cleaned up by Seizure and Josh in their car. Hit the windscreen.
Who are they for everybody?
They're two comedians, and Josh is like at the Comedy Store. He's the booker, or was the booker. But so basically, it was a moment for them where they were like, "What the fuck? Holy shit, a homeless man has hit the car. The thing smashes." They're like, "Who the fuck?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's Wolfie." And I'm like, "Hey boys, how you going?" Just another night out, 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. They cleaned up a random on a main road. It's Lansdowne's quite a busy road, right?
It's
fucking Parramatta.
Sydney Road. Yeah, off Parramatta.
Dude, and so I got hit, but yeah, and then I think it was Josh's car. I had to pay to get it all fixed up the next day. It's very hard when you got a partner. She's like, "Hey, where's all this money gone?" I'm like, "Oh, you know, I had a fucking blowout spending, but you're actually paying for drunken damage." Do you know what I mean? Like to have a new windscreen put in the vehicle. Yeah. But man, I was a good guy to pay for it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You redeemed yourself. Now,
in many ways, I feel Seizure was speeding. I didn't think I was at fault. You know, he should have seen me.
Did he pay for any of it? No.
They didn't pay for anything, dude. And because he was a booker at the Comedy Store, I was like, "Hey, why don't we just get you a new car, man? We'll get you, upgrade your vehicle. Get me some fucking spots at the Comedy Store. We'll get you a sunroof, bro."
Just get me some fucking spots. Get my
because of his position. Mate, I couldn't with the booker go, "You know what? Fuck you. See you in court. Get Judge Judy involved, you piece of shit. I'm not paying for any of it." I paid for everything. It was a lot of money for me then. $600, I think.
Oh yeah, back in the day, back in the Laugh Garage days.
Laugh Garage, man. Were you ever involved in Laugh Garage?
It was the only place I gigged. The only place they'd fucking let me on.
Mate, they let everyone on. It was, but the real show was after because they were all alcoholics and they locked it down. They're all going through divorces. They didn't want to go home to their wives and they just hang around. They weren't good people, but it was free alcohol. So, you know, whatever you get your kick where you can get it.
Kick-ons. Now, can we start? How would you describe? This isn't going to go the way that my other interviews go, but how would you describe your trajectory from where you started to where you are now?
Dude, how's this been? Someone wrote, "He's probably the 167th funniest person I've seen." I've realized I'm getting fucking lynched in the chat. Dude, they're always grading your work. I'm like, I never put in my CV that I was funny. It's not like you can see I'm handing out business cards saying like, "Come have a laugh." I haven't guaranteed shit. What's this?
No, I just said who was the 166th that I'm trying to say.
Dude, I've realized 100. I'm so arrogant. 167 is a great number. I'm actually should be stoked. That's fucking great.
But just how would you describe your career trajectory? Just give me the quick one-off.
Sort of like if you let off a firework and then it sort of just never took flight and then went sideways into the side of a molehill. It's sort of, you thought, shit, this is going to be big. And then it went, whoa, and sort of damped out. And now, right now, it's lying on the lawn and you're like, did it go off? And you're too scared to go and check it because it could explode in your face. That's what it is. And it's fucking sitting in the middle of the lawn and you're like, we can't check on this thing because it could kill you. And that's my career.
Okay.
Is that a good analogy?
It's great. And I feel like on the same night, because we did sort of start around the same time and firework. And I think mine is like someone tried to light a bonfire but there was just too much shit in it that it wouldn't burn, and it's just been kind of like smouldering away.
Who's this for me?
Me, 7 or 8 years. That's mine.
What do you mean, dude? You had all the traction. Do you know the last time we gigged? The last time we gigged together, it was at. This is when I remember the last gig. It was Dante's. He had a theatre gig. I arrived late because I'd been at a Bucks party and I had whatever things. But I don't know if you were there. Sass came because my ex was trying to find me because she couldn't find me. So she came to the final destination, which was the gig. So I'm at the gig.
You got married and had kids, right? You didn't have
well, we never got married. It was de facto, but you just say marriage because you can't be bothered getting into detail with strangers.
Yeah, I said
do you know what I mean? But the last gig was, I remember talking out back to you and you're like, she's fucking raging. You were out the back. And then I think I did the set lying on my back on stage, yelling at the ceiling. And people said I'd never done better. Do you remember this gig?
How drunk was I? Was it the night that I fell off my scooter, that I got knocked off my scooter on a taxi?
No, it was, it was South Bank. Or he had one that was like a South. Dante had one which was the theatre, and it was South Side or Southport, and it's a far away one. And it was booked it.
I think you're confusing me with Tessa Waters. Everybody does.
Dude, I never confuse you. I remember. But anyway, the chat was, and then you went. You were launched. You've got TV shows now. Remember, you gave me one branch. You let me go on that sketch. And I was so nervous about it. It was total disaster. Like a corpse up. Do you remember I had one line and it was virtually like these pretzels are making me thirsty moment. All I said is like, you come here often or something at the bar. I remember for this early sketch, it's what you used for the promo. That photo is us in that sketch.
Awkward bitch. Yeah. Awkward.
Do you remember how bad I was in that? I was there for hours. I said one line and I was totally corpse. I practiced it. I'm asking people, oi, dude, am I doing it right? I had no experience. I didn't know what the fuck filming was, man. That was the most scary day. And I think that's the last time. But then we had another sketch. We did that stupid ad together.
Yeah.
That was better.
I chucked the TV off a balcony. That was cool.
You are so good at acting, dude. You remember your lines. I'm getting better the more damaged I get.
Well, I just blew an audition this week. So, no. Oh, actually, no. Okay, so listen. I'm going to start with a failure this week, and then I want you to open up about one of your failures. Okay, so this week, not even this week. I mean, it was a little while ago, but only this week I discovered what I'd done wrong. So I am looking. I have a skin condition. You can't see it now because it's like spac filler makeup that's going on right now. But I have a skin condition where it goes red. It's called rosacea. It's like red acne. It like blows up.
But it's called rosé after the drink.
No, rosacea.
Oh, shit. I was saying, fuck, that's very tactless to call your disease rosé, the rosé look where you get all red in face. Like,
it's still
quite humorous.
Rosacea. Yeah, so I have that.
Rosacea, yeah.
And I'm looking for ways to cure it because apparently it's uncurable. But I'm skeptical about that because I was told that my back pain would be incurable, and then I cured it because of something Angie told me. Angie gave me this.
What was the cure?
Angie gave me this thing about TMS therapy. It was a therapy where you journal the pressures in your life. So you go, right, because I when I lost the job at Tonightly, I got hit with a massive debilitating back pain. Like I couldn't walk, and I wasn't putting 2 and 2 together. And I'd had surgery 2 years ago, back surgery, because I like basically couldn't walk. And then to be hit with it again, I was like, this can't be a thing. Like how? And they're like, oh, well, you have degenerative arthritis of the vertebrae. I'm like, I'm 35 years old. What are you talking about? Yeah. So I was just panicking. I'm like, oh my God, it's over. It's over. I can't run anymore. I can't do this. I can't do that. And
wait a second. Did you used to run? Do you run? I don't imagine you run. Are you a runner?
No issues now. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, go on.
I don't look like one, but I do.
No, I didn't say you don't look. I'm not saying you don't look fit, but I just can't imagine you being a jogger. I feel like you would be in some sort of more activity.
But I am now. And thank Angela for that too, because she's a good woman. She got me onto the running app.
What have you got? What have you ever given Angela? Is it a one-way relationship?
100%. When we were in our 20s, she used to drive my drunk ass from party to party and just just be a good person. And I'd be there going,
oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Dude, I've got so many friends like that. They just give. And then as I got older, I'm like, what have they ever got out of this? I'm an awful human. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. I have to go back to that because you have that moment of realization. I'll be very brief because it's about you, but I just want to get this out of the way. So this back pain, and Angie goes, oh my God, why didn't you tell me sooner? Try this. And I tried the TMS therapy, which is basically like reminding yourself that your brain is creating the pain. It's real pain, but it's manufactured by your brain to distract you from emotional stuff. So you journal your emotional issues and get it to the surface. And 2 weeks of like not being able to walk and screaming in pain, like I was before my surgery.
That's unbelievable.
My first day of this TMS thing that Angie showed me, I jumped out of bed, no pain. I haven't had pain since, except for the other day when I got a show rejected from Netflix.
And then the back was.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord! Dude, how amazing is it that you can just divert? You just dump truck pain, and you just tell your brain, you know what? I'm not interested.
That's exactly what I did. I said, listen, now you listen. And I'm not going to do this again. And I wrote a journal about why I was angry. Boom, pain gone. So that's been a life changer. And I thought with a chronic skin condition, same principle. You can bring it to the surface. And I wasn't having any luck. And I was reading on these forums, these internet forums about TMS and rosacea. And someone was like, oh, yes, Steve-O. Steve-O wrote in his book about curing rosacea with TMS. I'm like, oh, hell yes. So what did I do? I bought Professional Idiot by Steve-O. You know what I'm talking about when I say Steve-O, right?
Oh, I love this. That was your cure. This is unbelievable.
Steve-O from Jackass. I'm like, great.
Jackass 3 cured your rosé?
Not quite. I read the whole book. And then I was like, there's nothing in here about TMS. What? There's nothing in here about rosacea. And I went back on the forum and I was about to go, you guys don't know what you're talking about. And I scrolled a bit lower. And it said that is actually they were talking about a guy called Steve-O Zanich, who calls himself Steve-O.
Oh my Lord, that's so funny. You thought, and you were trying to look for references. Fine, and they're in there. Look, we fucking threw a trolley down an escalator, and you're like, when do they say, oh, rosacea? It's a hell of a disease. I fixed it with a shot of camel semen. As if a motherfucker with a tattoo on his back of himself doing this has cured of a chronic skin condition. Dude, but did you hear about Steve-O? He probably couldn't get it. Did you hear that he every country he went, he drank from the local dam or river? So Thames water in the River Nile, Sydney. He basically did it to harden up his stomach, and supposedly every country he traveled to, he'd go and drink from the local thing. Do you know what I mean? Like the fucking he's drinking. I don't know why he did this. Maybe he was for the rosacea. I don't want to speculate, but I'm just giving you a possible idea that the Sydney Harbour is not far from where you are, and it might be your cure. Look, maybe I'll go drink from. All right, I'll drink from the harbour, Wolfie. That will sort it out. Now, the hardest part of these treatments is you get more and more down the wormhole, the rabbit hole. Do you know what I mean? You start doing more and more ridiculous things, do you know, for the treatment. So, but have you got to the bottom of it now? Because your skin's looking amazing. No, it's because it's caked on makeup. I'm gonna go and get it lasered off when COVID happens. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, but how is it? Is it just come up like a rash, or is it permanently there? Oh, it's been since about 2014. It's been for a while. Like you can take it. Yeah, my ex had like redness that would come up from the birth control. Yeah, you know? Maybe that's hormonal. But because who cares? The hormonals jack up. Who cares? Now, your turn. I think people listening want to get this treatment nailed. We need to save you here. I'm going to do laser. I'm going to see how it goes. I'm just going to chuck some money at it and see how laser goes. That's what I'm going to do. Laser could be good, man. Steve-O's book didn't work. Steve-O from Steve-O's book, that's so good. Did it cure my skin condition? Now, oh my Lord. Wolfie, can you tell me about a time where you messed up real bad? Mate, can you tell? Yeah. That is the story of my life. It's just like, pick a time and I can tell you where. But let me get it straight. The thing is, I don't want to double over. I've obviously detonated my entire life. You're aware of this. In 3 years, I destroyed, and I don't even have like I was saying in the beginning, almost a grip on reality because I've lost so much. I was effectively, I don't know if you've heard all this. You would have heard it on the Muggle.
No, I haven't listened to your episode.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm glad I didn't listen to your little fucking sketch.
You didn't watch
playback time. You know what? I saw the sketch and I scrolled straight past it. Not interested. Fuck you. No.
I've been meaning to. I'll put it on when I do the cleaning.
No, I don't care, man. This is what I like. We don't really care. I don't want anyone to listen to anything. Mate, you don't understand what happened to me. Do you know what happened?
No.
So when I came back from London, right,
When were you in London? When were you in London?
I lived in London before I was in Sydney for about 8 years.
So before I met you. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, before you met me. But while I was in London, I bought 2 properties randomly because it was, you know, the GFC. I think I was involved in it. They were just giving out random finance. I said, like, let's not get a rental. Let's just own the whole place. We can do whatever we want. And we had a place called the Vortex, which was run by me. So there were no rules. The neighbors couldn't stop it. They go, we're going to fucking contact your landlord. And I'd spin around and go, I am the landlord. There's nothing that can be done. But we had these places.
But when you say we, you mean you and your...
No, I owned them. I owned them out, right? I had a 4-bed place in London and then another 4-bed. And I was living, this was the greatest part. I borrowed the money. I didn't put anything down. And I was living there rent-free because everyone else paid the mortgage. So I basically was on the top of this house and it was just a party house. It was called the Vortex because you would arrive and then never know when you come back out. We had one of the best things. We had my ex. She got a job. She hadn't had a job for ages. We started celebrating it on the Friday. By Monday, we're still going. Partying. She rings in sick. Tuesday, we're still going. Tuesday afternoon, she gets a call. She's lost the job. The celebration is fucking... We partied so hard that she had lost the very job that we were celebrating by the time we ended up coming out of the Vortex.
Is she Lindsay Bluth? Have you seen that episode of Arrested Development?
Nah, I haven't seen it.
That's exactly what happens. She gets a job.
It actually happened. And we're like, how good's the job? And then by the end, we're sitting there drunk and off our heads going like, you didn't need that job. The way they treated you, it's not right. You're better than that job. You're better than that job. You've dodged a bullet. I hated the politics of that fucking place. Any decent place would have given you the week off. She never came. They were like, fuck it. It's a job. What?
And it would have given you your first week off.
She needs a week off. You've seen how many drugs she's done? She should take a month off, for fuck's sake. She should be in rehab. You idiots. You're fucking... What is HR gone mad? This is ridiculous. But anyway,
another bag.
These things, I had these behind me. This was my cockiness because I always knew like these things were growing and they were always paid for. So I eventually moved back to Sydney, and then we got another place. So now 3 places. It seems, I know no one believes it. I'm not showing off. I told a comic once when we were gigging in Sydney, I'm like, dude, I own like 3 houses. And he was like, you piece of shit, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? He changed his view. He goes, why would you mention it? I'm like, you actually asked me, fuckhead. You asked me and I answered the question. It's not like I'm around. No one else knew. I'm not trying to show off. But what I was saying, so this is the story arc. So then we have the kids. Then we sell up everything to buy a house in Nedlands. I've got like this dream house. I've set up a broking business. We're pulling in ridiculous amounts of money. And then this is when it all went bad. I made a trade that made me like quite a substantial amount of money. And rather than be the moment where you go, I can fucking travel off into the sunset, it inflated my ego. And I suddenly thought, I'm Andrew Forrest. I'm going to have fucking 100 million. I want a yacht. This is crazy. See that person. I'll own them one day. And I went the absolute, I became the abhorrent, everything they talk about in the Bible about being obsessed about money. And what actually happened, and this is the truth, in 3 months, I detonated my entire life. I fucking traded every single penny down. I lost the house. We sold the only house, which was all of it, at a massive loss. My wife left. And after the separation, I was left with virtually nothing. And then I tried to leverage that into the market and lost the rest of it. And this is where I sit now. So effectively, in the space of 3 months. And it was right after our second kid was born. So in 3 months, I went from watering this fucking garden near our pool to suddenly being in my parents' house. And I'm still not really sure how it happened, because you live for so long in your life and you get a bit comfortable. You go, I'm a bit of a maniac, but I always keep my shit together. But it was almost like an Icarus moment. Like the fact I'd gone up then made me too loose. And then I was willing to risk too much. And, you know, suddenly I'm putting in like my life savings into a tiny stock and still trying to work out why the fuck I did this in a period like that. So now I find myself trapped. My comedy's fucked because I'm in Perth and I don't know what I'm going to have to do. I might have to get a desk job. So is that a big enough fuck up for you guys?
Oh, it's like, it's so multi-layered and it's so raw and frank. It's so frank. And it's, yeah.
You want to see this?
Go on.
I'll put it in the links. We bought this for $2 million. This is the house that I owned in. I'll send this in for fun because there are not that many people in here, are they?
No, Rodney wants to see it. Rodney says
How do I post shit in this? Do I have to sign up?
No, you could message it to me and I'll post it.
Oh, don't message. 29 Vincent Street, Nedlands. I could have paid that off for cash. I sold it we renovated it. I sold it and lost 300 grand on that. But you look at it. See if people want to look it up.
28. Wait, so say it again.
No, 29 Vincent Street, Nedlands. That used to be my house. And I could have paid it off for cash. But instead, I wanted to become fucking Andrew Forrest.
Oh my God. Is it yeah, WA, I've got it. And is it like a gambling addiction, do you think? Is it similar?
Man, I don't know what the meds were, like what caused it. But the thing is, then subsequent to that, I made a lot of the money back. And then you start to try believe, is your life...
there you go, Braden. I've just posted it.
Is it the nature of life? Like, do you know what I mean? To make a lot of money, do you have to be willing to lose a lot? Or I've actually cooked myself and I am now forever fucked. I often wander the streets and go like, oh, this could be really quite a big deal, what I've done. Do you know? As in, if I don't fucking recover from this. But I have, the thing is, in the subsequent year, I made back half the money and then sort of fucked bits of it up. But this house, at one point, December 2019, I could have paid off the whole mortgage and owned it outright.
But you gambled the money.
But I kept the money on the market because I was like, well, who wants this? There's not even a fucking pool house in this. This is bullshit. You need a jetty. I'm like, I can't live like this. Do you know? Because what I've realized is the human spirit, your standards just change. Like, I think this happens for comics. Suddenly you're doing theaters, then it's a shit theater. This house became shit to me. I was like, it's on a busy road. It's fucked. I'm like, I need the neighbors. We don't even have we need like a tennis court. You can't be fucking not have a tennis court. I don't even play tennis. I'm like, I need a yacht. I hate boating. I don't want to be on a fucking boat. I don't even like going outside, dude. And the whole time in this house, I spent in the smallest room, which was the study, lying around with the same way I do now, just lamenting the world and watching television. So nothing actually changed for me.
So what does it matter, though? What does it matter if you don't
None of it matters. That's what I'm saying. So funny because even when I had that, my partner would, let's go to the park. I'm like, fuck the park. It's all the same. So I actually never spent any of the money. We bought that, but I still wore black T-shirts. I've got some ambition to never buy clothes. I just like the idea of like having 5 shirts that you make it to the end with. Like, to me, it's like the same idea of what?
Like Steve Jobs.
Yeah. Like, it's like driving with no fuel. I'm like, but how good would it be to be buried in the same shirt you got at your 18th? I'm like, this is an incredible journey. Do you know what I mean? Like, Grandpa, you still got that fucking Big Dub shirt. I'm like, $3. It does me fine. I'm living the dream. I'm going back to my bedroom to watch Netflix. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
But doesn't that give you some insight in the fact that nothing's changed? Okay, so Braden says, when lamenting, have you achieved a level of being content? That's exactly what I wanted to ask. Is that in the lament?
The thing is, I ran out of white privilege, and I've said that before, but I feel it actually gave me, it's been a lot of pain, right, for 3 years since that, because I lost my ex left as soon as that money went, which sucks. And then there's other things that I can't actually legally say out here that made it much worse than what actually happened.
You're that level, mate. Respect.
But it's like that game of, because I lost everything, I got such an insight into the human condition about the idea of wealth and materialism and money. And there was a weird thing that existence exists despite itself, that there's really no elevated state in the human condition. I'm saying to you, there's no elevation. Elon Musk still gets frustrated. Even you see he's selling all his assets, he still has to wait around on the jetty and go, what do you mean the piece of shit's fucking, the yacht's delayed, the day sucks. I'm like, the idea that there's an elevated state of consciousness is the flawed thought of capitalism, right? That overarches all of it. That to exist is all comparable. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no one doing better than anyone else.
100%. Dane says mind-blowing, and Hot Scorpio says resilience is a very noble thing. And when you say that, like the elevated state because of capitalism, mate, it's the opposite. It is the opposite. An elevated state is when you go, oh, shit, I actually don't need anything. Now, I'm not there yet. There yet. But when you can kind of go, an elevated state due to capitalism is literally reaching. It's trying to fill a void.
That's the thing. And it's this thought that there's tiers of existence, but there's not. Reality is the reward. There's nothing else beyond that, which means you can be lying under the bridge and you still experience reality, which means you pine to be Elon Musk and have your ego stroked and your dick stroked and do fucking pissing contests to the moon or Mars, but he only experiences reality. The rest is an illusion. And then everyone becomes a cunt because they're chasing money and they'll end up fighting with friends and borrowing money and being shit. But it all comes down to the fact that the argument that an animal in the forest is probably having a better life than we do because they're more in touch. Because we go to fucking clinics, we're doing mindfulness, we're rocking on balls, we're trying to drink water, running, all to get back to the truth, which is to just experience the now is all life is. And then I'm saying that's what I got given. That's the gift of what happened to me, is that I get forced in the now, because if I live in the past, I'd kill myself. And if I live in the future, I'll kill myself because the past is fucked because I fucked up. And the future might be a desk job. So the only place I can be happy is in the now.
That's right. And that's testament to your intelligence and to possibly how you were raised and the values you have, because there are people who go, oh, well, it's all gone, who didn't have the basis of, okay, what is actually important, who were never told, what do I actually value, what should I be grateful for?
It could have been possible though. Like if I didn't have kids, I might have done that.
Right.
Because it was such a mountain to overcome. Do you know what I mean? To come back to basically, it's a million times. You know when that feeling where you lose your wallet and then you go around the festival trying to look for it. This was my entire existence. The same feeling though. Do you know when? Oh fuck! Where'd I put my mobile? And then you're digging around. You're tracing your footsteps. But for me, because it was so real, there's nowhere to go. I just know it's dead. I feel like it. I don't even know how some people with traumas deal with life. Do you know, like that, say the mum that reverses over their kid in the car and the kid dies? I mean, how the fuck how do you live on from that? When you're rushing to work, I've got my job at Office Works, fucking come on, Jaden, you prick, boom. And then you're like, I don't know how any counselor can get you to a state. And the only way you can do it is to get to that elevated state where you go like, I've got to raise awareness for reversing. I've got to do, a lot of the people with kidnapped people end up doing that. We've got to raise Amber Alert. We've got to have some impact. It was like that Windhoff, the guy that does the Iceman. Have you heard him?
Mate, Windhoff? I've heard of Iceman, but I'm not into it. Honestly, I don't like macho crimes. I like more like women.
No, this isn't Iceman. This is the Windhoff, the breathing technique where he goes underwater and holds his breath.
Oh.
But his story was very similar of a trauma. The love of his life They had 3 kids jumped off a building and for no reason, and he just couldn't go on. And then he had to go on.
Wait. Okay. First of all, Angie says we will always find a way to be emotional even as shit changes. Yeah, that's right. You'll even find a way to connect. But what are you talking about? His wife and children?
No, this is what I'm saying. I'm talking about, I'm continuing the idea of how do people deal with trauma and how do they get it.
Right.
Winhoff is the idea is to make something profound or noble from it. Do you know that benefits more people? That's the only way you can get through it. Like you find a way to take your pain and affect the world and improve it. But this is what he did. He did his breathing techniques and going in. It's the cold water treatment, which is about trying to force you into the now. But his story was so, I don't know if we should just be repeating other YouTube videos as our YouTube video, but he's got a great video where it's so touching, man. It's like his the love of his life. He said she lit up the room and she jumped off a building and he just didn't know how to get on. And for years he was just lost. And then one night he went down to the park, I think maybe to kill himself, and he got into the ice cold lake in the middle of the night naked and then held his head under the water and then realized in that state of survival, he was free from the pain. And then he thought, oh my God, he started doing that every night. And it became this massive fucking movement that people do to deal with trauma. And then he's now realized that perhaps that his trauma, if he's finding a treatment for it, was the end goal, right? This was the sort of divine purpose of his life. It wasn't to live the fairy tale going to Bali with his wife. It was to find a solution to deal with trauma of that nature. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. And
I'm saying, I think that's one of the ways to get around a trauma thing, because we were trying to talk about how if you reversed over your kid, you would keep going.
Well, it's that whole thing of when people say, oh, everything happens for a reason. And if you view that as some divine being going, oh, that I'm just making stuff happen for other reasons. No, that doesn't make sense to me. But if you go, everything happens for a reason in terms of like, how do I get reason out of this happening, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man.
But like, just going back to the story, I have to ask the personal question. Like, so you said earlier that your ex left because the money was gone.
Well, I don't know if it was all that. It's probably because I'm horrible to be around. I have to take ownership for my own behavior. I'm a difficult person. I don't know why the fuck I brought someone into my life. Like, I don't even like being around myself, so it's not a good idea to make some other prick have to deal with it. So it was always a long shot that I could find a partner. Do you know what I mean? It was very selfish.
Exact same way. Yeah, exact same way. I feel exactly.
It was fucking selfish because I'm a prick. My moods go all over the place. I'm very argumentative. I'm like obsessed about shit, and it's just not that fun because I can't be as joyous as they want. Like Christmas Day, everyone's, how good is this? And I'm like too aware. I'm like, it's fake. Or you know what I mean? I just can't I can't just go with the flow on shit. I'm analyzing everything the whole fucking time.
Oh yeah. I've disappeared for little, like, you know, cry durries at family things. Like, okay, like, you know.
Dude, even on a holiday, I lose interest. I'm like, we've been building up. You mark it off in the calendar. Day 3, I'm like, but is this it? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think my whole life I've been searching for shit. And then I'm the holiday. I'm counting down the days there. I've got a calendar, a new calendar. How many days left in Thailand? I'm not secretly marking it off. Holy shit, just one more fucking day on the banana boat and we're out of this shithole. Can't wait to get back to work. Like, my whole life is running and hiding. Do you know what I mean? From myself.
Yeah. Hot Scorpio says you are gorgeous, Wolfie, in your prickness.
Mate, and, go on.
Rodney says Christmas is fake, Wolfie's right.
It's true.
It's fake. And you know what? You know what's fake about it? Do you know, like, white people are fucked. I'm sorry. Like, have you ever been to an Islander event? Like, I grew up in New Zealand. When you go to a Samoan or a Tongan or a Māori thing, it's like They know how to have fucking fun, and they know how to connect, they know how to sing songs, they know how to cook food and share. And I don't know. I don't want to generalize, but it's always been like, I've been like, why can't we do this? What's missing? Why is it always awkward interactions? Why is it always like pussyfooting around other people's issues, and you have your own issues?
It's fucking weird, dude. And I think it's because their culture is more authentic, and ours is a bit more manufactured, and it's more hierarchy and class driven and shitty. They've got a very communal spirit, whereas ours is more like, go fuck yourself. I've got a bigger house.
Yeah.
You know, and then you try put down the weapons for the day. Come and have some fucking trifle in our $3.1 million house. No way we're helping you out of debt, Derek, you fucking turd. I worked hard for what I got. I wasn't lucky. I worked hard. Fuck the rest of the family. What do you mean? Oh, Cheryl's fucking fucked. She's trashed her money. Wouldn't think of fucking flicking her 20 grand, but happy to get a Porsche and then demand that they come around and look at it. That's the Western culture. And then you hang out on Christmas.
Absence of community.
There's no community.
Yeah.
Maori or whatever, they're in there. They share everything, but they share everything all year round. It's not a fucking manufactured thing. This generosity is manufactured. They're not like that. That's why it's fake. And that's why you can feel it. Because no country's giving you second helping just randomly on the week. But if you go to Fiji or what, they're always like that. Hey, dude, we've got extra food. Come round. People here, they're like, fucking Bennett, fucking leftovers. Fuck that. I'd rather bin it than give it to my brother, piece of shit. He fucking, he's you know what I mean?
You know, I used to feed my younger brother when I lived nearby. Like my brother's 9 years younger than me, and I used to kind of bring food to him just because I changed his nappies when he was younger. Like, we've got a good bond, and I used to be like, oh, little Bubba needs some food, and I'd still go around there when he was in his 20s and give him food, and I'd get like sort of judgment for that, and I'd be judging myself, going like, oh, you baby him. But it's sort of like, it's my family and it's my brother, and you know. Actually, Angie says the ability to analyze is why you can make so much money, Wolfie. But you got skills, son, but those skills also wreck shit. It's when you're analyzing everything. It's
100% because I think so much, and then it's like getting bored on holiday. I wasn't really content in that place, and I didn't really give a fuck about it. And if you don't value something, it goes. And it's the same with the relationship. The idea was like, what do I do now? What, I live in a suburb? What the fuck? We do fun runs? I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to do this. You know, in many ways, I maybe self-sabotage. I'm like, what do we do? We fucking live happily ever after and watch the lemon tree grow bigger.
We talk about bathroom renovations. We talk about we buy cushions. Like
yeah, what becomes of you then? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, but you know what's interesting? Can you believe as a family that you could buy a holiday house? Say you're paying off your house, you buy a holiday house before you'd pay off your brother's mortgage. That your quest, it's an empty place, right? Your quest to take people down, because my family on one of the sides loaded, and they buy a ton of shit, and then we're expected to come look at it, and I'm like, but they could easily change everyone's life. But I understand it's that idea, like when Oprah gave all her poor sort of yokel relatives money and they just basically blew it on jet skis. She's like, where's the fucking money? I've invested in a timeshare in Thailand. We've lost it all. So then we bought a fairy floss machine. I'm like, you piece of shit. What the fuck did you buy a fairy floss machine? Do you know what I mean? So there's that idea that you can't give money to a moron because they just go, yeah, I bought Babe Ruth's fucking diaper. It's $1 million. It's going to be worth a lot. You're like, you fucking idiot. Do you know what I mean? So in some ways, if maybe this is the idea of capitalism, that you believe it's fair, but I think it's all luck. And this is what's crazy, because I think human nature, you would share your money. The human spirit's like that. But because you believe that the game is merit-based, you think that if Hancock, or what's her name? Portia, what the fucking fat shit. the rich people think that they definitely got it.
Gina
Reinhardt. Believe they got it with skill rather than fortune, and it's a mixture, but capitalism tricks you into thinking that it's all skill-based. So then you're like, you get what you serve, you get what you deserve, but I don't think that's the truth. But dude, is this meant to be a comedy podcast?
Now,
It's like we're going into a weird space.
No. This is a conversation. No. I would like to raise then, you said human nature is inherently sharing. I fundamentally disagree. I think the reason capitalism is so where it is now and why we are where we are, I think greed and I need more than my neighbor and I need to stockpile more stuff than the other cave. I think humans are inherently capitalist. Like,
you're right. And how
higher consciousness sharing.
Dude, you are so right. It's a very easy tap out. You go, it's capitalism. And it's one of the things I'm trying to get away in my stand-up, like using words like capitalism and just dog shit words. The truth is it's greed. Fear and greed drive us all. And the system is not. That's it. And the system is not the excuse. We designed the system. It reflects the choices of the group. And that's what we are. And then we go like, it's disgusting and it's flawed, but it's the best. It's everyone's input created this, which means fear and greed rule the way. And that's all we really care about. And the truth is no one's sharing their pie.
Because we're fucking cavemen, and that's what it is. And I hate to say it, but that's where I've always said, if you stop child abuse, you stop crime. All crime.
Oh, true.
But because no one's born a criminal, but if you stop child abuse, you stop crime. You are never stopping child abuse because humans are self-serving, greedy fucks. Basically,
yeah. And how is it? It's true, man. So much of crime is just a relay race of pain because it's either you get molested or you have issues growing up or you're rejected by mainstream or society. That's where all the lone shooters, the bombers, it's either the sexual crimes are often just replicated over and over. And then often the anger ones are vengeance because they weren't accepted or they didn't feel fit in. Do you know what I mean? If there had been kindness and a sort of warmth, no one naturally wants to go and just fucking burn someone's house down. Do you know, they feel like they weren't going to get invited to the house. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's that old saying. The child who doesn't feel the warmth of the village will burn it to feel the warmth.
Mate, it's a great saying. Have people been logging out? Are people still listening to us?
We've had consistently the same amount of people watching the whole time, which at that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the panel so people can come on and chat with you and chat with the staff. Wolfie, but before that, I'm going to change tack completely. Do you have a completely like ridiculous, I can't believe that happened, kind of like lighthearted, what the fuck sort of fail story that you want to relay?
Dude, this is such a gear change, hey?
I know.
I didn't really think that I'd have to add like a happy ending to the honestly enough. But I hadn't even prepped this. But I kept rolling it out because it's all I talk about. Because I mentioned it, I miss Susan, I miss my life. I'm just on and on about it. What's something that I fucked up that's more fun?
Well, yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be fun, but it could just be more like cliff notes before we open up the panel.
Okay, well, fuck, man. Way to put me out. I haven't, well, we had that, let me think. Fuck, dude. I was trying to think of, I don't want to double up. You know what the big thing is on pods and events? You just double up on stuff.
Don't worry. I mean, no, mug off. I mean, what, did they pay you?
No, they didn't, man.
So they don't own the material. I love the boys, but they don't own the material, so double up.
I'm just trying to think of what would be a fun one where I fucked up.
But if it's not fun, but if it's just brief.
Man, wait a second.
Do you want me to open up the panel and you can think about it?
You give me one while I quickly think. You give me one of yours. This is how I flip back.
Let me think what I did. That was it's probably something lame involving cooking. No, it's probably something like.
Okay, I'll give you one that you quite like. When I was younger, and this is just a throwaway one, I had a mate of mine wasn't like tech aware, so he wanted to get everyone's emails, right? But back in the day, the things are like fucking Skimmy Dick 47,
Oh, yeah.
Word doc, fuckface, or whatever. So I don't know, big titty, boop, boop. So anyway, this guy's a moron. So I need to explain it to this moron. So I basically get my entire, he's my mate. So I get my entire address book and I copy it. I press send, I press all the addresses, cut them out. So I clip them. I clip them out, like every address from every address book, 2. And then I put it in the email and I go down the list and I do a short summation of every person. This fucking 6, it's horrible stuff because I'm young, like 6 out of 10, thanks to the braces, fucking love this girl, want to try get her off Davo. This guy clearly on the spectrum, still hangs around because he pays for the taxi now and again. So I'm writing all these summations. We call him fucking Limpy, or you know what I mean? Like just all this shit. And then I press send to it. So it's just to my friend, Jay Logan, sent it to everyone. I sent it to fucking everyone. It hit Hotmail. I went to press stop. And then I pressed back, and then I was like, I hit the ground, and I was screaming, going, nah. This is my entire fucking friend group. This can't be true. It can't be true. And then I'm checking Hotmail. I'm trying to send and see if you press stop, is it enough to stop? It's not. I'm like, the fucking email went out. Everyone I know, I had given a 3-word summary. It was all funny shit. Like, I can't remember what I said. It was funny, but that was the joy because everyone thinks I'm the fun guy. It was taken tongue in cheek, but most of it was real. It was never intended for everyone. Thank God a lot of people hit their spam folders. Not everyone even checked it. Some of the addresses were wrong because I'm fucking useless. And it eventually, the blowback was only a few people, and I basically had to talk. But the problem was because of my personality, I talked about it to everyone. I'm like, hey, I'm just joking about the braces. You're a great friend. Do you know what I mean? Everyone respects your dad. He's a good man. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, so then I'm fucking, for weeks, I'm basically verbally doing the same thing. Your dad's a good man. No one laughs at him. Like, we respect him. He's not a degenerate gambler. Anyway, so that was it.
Great. I love it. That's brilliant. Wolfie. Bloody amazing. And I want to invite people up if they want to have a chat. It's open. I just posted the link. I'll post it again. And just click the link and we'll welcome you in. Everyone's welcome. And just, if you want to ask any questions of Wolfie, or do you want to ask
Dude, are you going to stay in the chat as well?
I'm here. I'll stay here the whole time.
Good. Thank God, dude. I thought you were I'm going to get an interrogation.
No, we had a few people jump on last time. It was really cool. But no one's jumping on. Who wants to jump on? Angie, are you still there? You come on and give some
Angie's
wisdom.
bailed.
No.
When she left, when I pointed out that you had not contributed anything to the friendship.
She knows that. She knows that. There was this moment where I went to this party when I lived in LA. I lived in LA, by the way. I lived in LA for 2 years, and I went to this party, and I have this friend who is how they say in friendships, there's a garden and a gardener.
Yeah.
And in this friendship, I was very much the gardener for this. Like, she would enter the room and everyone loved her, and I'd feel insecure and not quite sure of myself, and she'd be like, come on, babe, just be confident. And for once in my life, because I was in a new place, not once in my life, I mean, I felt like that as a kid, but for once in my adult life, I was kind of like, oh, I'm on the back foot here. I don't feel confident. And I need my friend to have all the attention, and she's taking so much of the attention that I felt really uncomfortable. And suddenly it was like, boom, I know what I've done to Angela my entire life. I have usurped her energy. I have just asked and asked and asked, given and given and given, and holy shit, that's what it feels like. So I was going through it.
You got credit. Dude, it is funny like that when you have someone that's very out there and they're more out there than you, and you end up playing the straight guy, and you're like, oh, and it happens with comics a lot. You're like, oh, I'm the fucking straight guy. I can't keep up with this fucking maniac. And then suddenly you're the sensible one.
And suddenly I was just like, I went and I messaged her and I said, look, I apologize for the last 7 years, like what I've demanded of you and what you have selflessly sacrificed in our friendship. And
Dude,
she's like,
this.
She's like, what are you talking about?
I love these fake apologies. Like the binge eater.
Yeah, like, do you know what I'm talking? Do you remember what I messaged you, Ed, when I said that?
Hey, mate, how you going?
Hi, good. It's funny because I was gonna say in the thing, no, Gerda gave me a Ken Doan tea towel once, so we're totally easy.
Oh my god.
Okay, that's so
good. Dude, it's sort of like
we've got people waiting in the wings. I'm gonna add everybody, and then but Angie's first off the rank to ask any questions and make any contributions.
Rodney.
Right here. Hey,
how you guys going?
Rodney's got his background is that fucking house.
Well, I was so good.
Well, I was about to get on Twitch. I was about to game, so I got my green screen on in the background, and then I just had to play around in it.
Dude, that's not 29 Vincent though. You must have got the wrong number.
Yeah, it's pretty fancy though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is fancy. It looks good, hey?
Got the fireplace going, nice and warm.
Rodney, I'll send you a picture of the actual house, and you can, you can do
Wolfie's house.
Dude, I would love it if you'd put that up and you're sitting by the pool and trigger me, and I'm like, I just would have smashed my laptop and disappeared.
Now, Angie, what are your questions? Do you have any questions?
Okay, so you can make money like really, really quickly, and you can lose it like really quickly as well. Is that? So you're kind of saying that it's because like you got bored and you were looking for like higher and higher thrills.
I think so, 100%. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So now that you're on the other side of that, are the things that you're looking for that you're finding that are like that's keeping you content? That's nothing to do with the because like I can imagine that's like the highs and lows of making and like losing money is awesome.
Yeah.
But like, is there anything else that you found that can like match the contentment of doing that? Like that has not related to money?
It's funny because I would like to give like a profound thing, and I'm doing like Rodney was saying, or doing like soup kitchen work or helping out. But stand up in a way replaces it, but it's still that sort of adrenaline, highs and lows, like the addict personality. Do you know what I mean? I'm still chasing ridiculous things. And despite what I was saying in that chat, maybe I've learned nothing. Because, you know what I mean? Because I should be just going for works and be more introspective and reflective. But all I'm now trying to do is get back on the roller coaster and get back up, make more money.
Yeah. As in you want to try and get the wealth that you had before, or are you just
but the thing is, it's a very different idea now because all I want is freedom. I don't want any possessions. Before I was trying to get stuff. I just want enough money to have fuck you money, so that I don't have to work. Because the hardest thing is I now look at trying to get a job. It's very hard to like take an hourly wage when you see what you can make in the market. Do you know what I mean? You're like, why the fuck?
Absolutely.
Why am I going there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can make you can make that in 10 minutes with the right trade, but you can also lose it in 10 minutes. So I don't. There's no easy answer. I'm basically screwed.
What were the trades? What were the money that you lost money on? What did you put money in? What kind of companies or stocks?
Dude, the problem was I put in I'd been trading quite sensibly, and then I put it into very speculative, nickel sulfide stocks, this. And the first one I got in, I 5 times, I put in like 300 grand into a stock, and I made 1.4 in 10 days off it, 1.4 mil.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, man.
Fuck.
So then I had that, but then I thought, I'm going to kick on, dude. I'm going to make a fuckload. So then my stakes were huge. Then I had I'm putting in 600 grand into 3-cent stocks. And the thing was, during this time, it's all timing issues because there was one stock, right? It had petered down. It had gone from 1.4, 800. Then it was 600,000. And I put all 600 into a stock at 3 cents, and it dropped to 2, and I had to lock it in because of the divorce and shit. So I'd lost 200 grand. That stock now would be worth 4.2 mil if I'd able to hold it for 2 years. Wow. But I had to fucking bail out. But you know what I mean? So not all the strategies were flawed. It was timing shit. Do you know what I mean? Like I was in, it dropped. And then even in the recovery, I had a gold stock Spectrum, bought it at 2 cents, had 200K in there. I sold for like 10 grand profit, and it went from 2 cents to 15 a month later, which would have been 1.4. I could have been back.
Fuck.
I could have been back, Rodney. I could have been back.
Rodney has Bitcoin.
Shh, don't say that online, man. Don't.
It's all turned rough for you. Hey, how early did you get in though?
Not that early, but because I never had, good paying jobs to get heavily into it. But a friend of mine who told me about it, he had 200, around 200, and he sold them all around $300, all of them. So he would have had millions, but he sold them all when it was around $300.
That's the insane thing, because I went to a French festival and a girl spoke to me about it when they were $400 a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then I investigated it, and it seemed so easy. Oh, you just buy it. But it was actually fucking hard then, because you had to put it on a memory stick. It seemed really dodgy. They didn't have the proper exchanges. And you're like, hey, do I want to put 10 grand to this random fucking Russian site? And then the other thing is everyone's got the idea that they would have hold Bitcoin from $400 to what it is now. I was looking to put in like quite a bit into there. And, I ended up selling out, but I'm like, I don't think you would have ridden the whole curve. Everyone would have opted for 300.
Yeah, but it's also the if you convert it, you got to pay about capital gains tax too. So a lot of it goes back to the.
Hey, Brad, man, how are you?
Now, before Braden asks,
Braden just came and left.
He's here, but he just
Braden left out.
No, he's here. He's here. He just probably doesn't want to be on camera. Fair enough. I hate being on camera if I don't have inches.
I waved at him, and that's what turned him off. It's because you're too doled up. It's because you're too doled up. You're putting people under pressure. You're going to wear a dressing gown next week.
Oh, here we go. So, okay. So, Braden, I'm going to kick your other one. Kick from studio. I'm going to use the next one. Yeah, add stream. There we go. Now, but Nikki, do you want to, Hot Scorpio, do you want to ask a question?
No, I'm just happy listening, and I can add in as we go. I'm having a ball.
All right. Yeah, listen. All right, Braden, what have you got to say? What have you got to ask the Mr. Wolfe?
Nothing. As I pointed out in the group chat, I find it's pretty like a bit of an oxymoron for Wolfie. I've followed him on sort of the old Hard Yarns podcast and through, Perth-based as well as it is. So it's pretty ironic the oxymoron for Wolfie. I've kind of assimilate, for want of a better term, with that whole wanting to never be able to switch off and fucking needing more quite regularly. That as of literally with 2.5 weeks ago, I'm trying to, again, ADHD, trying to cook fucking dinner and got children going around the house at the moment.
Yeah.
But just recently was diagnosed with ADHD. As Wolfie was saying, that Wim Hof sort of thing of tried doing the meditation, switching off, stuff like that, and you got that inability. So the difficulty is sort of switch off. You need to keep pushing, doing more. Fucking
100%.
With that values that you have as a sort of growing up, where I've got like two English 10-pound pom parents, where it's that fucking constant. You can't take your annual leave. You got to work. You can't take no days off. So you're constantly pushing. And like Wolfie said, you had a fucking, what was it? A pretty. I know the street that Wolfie mentioned and stuff like that. So it's pretty affluent area and whatnot. So you've got that. You're like, fuck, it's not enough. Got to keep pushing, and it's like that constant pursuit that you don't switch off. So it's
good. And then you eventually self-sabotage. It's like a kid. You start tinkering with the red button because you're in the kitchen. Your parents say don't touch that fucking red button. When they leave, you get some cookies. Then you watch TV. Then you're like, fuck it. Let's touch the red button. Let's see what happens. And I think that's what happened to me, because the work takes so much of your time. When I used to have a desk job, you can't touch the red button because they drain your fucking energy and you never have time. But because I was self-employed, suddenly you start going mental. You're like, hey, maybe I'm going to detonate and see what happens in a way, potentially. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's that constant pursuit, isn't it? Sort of in a way, like.
But you know what happens? Whenever something bad happens, you've got to philosophize around it, or you'll fucking kill yourself. So you have to find a reason. There's probably no reason. I'm just a fuck up, but I have to justify it in some way to move forward. They're probably
Brandon,
not.
Brandon, do you have a little kid?
Yes, yeah. Sorry, I'll jump on and go and come back in a second. Go.
Okay, cool. But it's the self-sabotaging thing is really true because when so I'll just take everybody else off mute. Sorry, I was just I thought there was feedback. Because I had my dream job in 2018. I lost it. I lost it through no fault of mine or anybody else's that was working on the show. It was just like some bitch didn't like us. Some bitch that got sacked months later. And then she didn't like us, but so she sacked us. And that whole thing of like, how can I ever match that again? How can I ever feel that fulfilled? How can I ever feel that happy? And I'm chasing. And different to you, Wolfie, it's not financial. It's
you
like,
want that creative reward.
I couldn't give a shit about the money. I really couldn't. I couldn't care less. It's more just like, when am I ever going to be that happy again that I can be myself and create in a sense? Like where I was.
The thing is that she cast the stone at the die and then moved. Like if she had just left before, you probably would have continued. And then it's that fear of living in the shadow of your own past. Like, was that the high water mark? Do you always yearn for that? Or do you end up driving on and creating more? And then that's a fucking scary thought, man. It's a lot to process.
Who had a thought there?
I just think there's such an intolerance for the individual, and there's this real reluctance to open up the opportunity for people to either learn or express themselves in their own way. There's this boxed in version of what you're supposed to be in any given environment, and yet there is so much richness and beauty that I see in you, Wolfie, for example, and the beauty that you can give. The beauty that you can give if we were just more tolerant of learning outcomes and stuff like that. Like they're all boxed into what fits in, and yet there doesn't seem to be this this openness for acceptance for the absolute myriad of absolute delightful beauty in any individual, because I have to say, you remind me very much of my son who passed away. And he was so individual. But he was so individual and so beautiful and so kind and so compassionate. And he could be with an animal in pure calm and delight, and yet could not cope with being around a lot of people or fitting into this whatever our boxed in society is. And yet I find that a real sadness.
100%.
He couldn't fit in, and yet, you have someone at their funeral, 300 people saying, he was amazing. He always made me feel welcome. He always made me feel calm. He was always there for me. And yet our society isn't structured in a way that fits in. That even just the cultural stuff around death, like you were talking about before.
Well, Rodney can attest to this. Rodney can attest to this. And Nikki, I'm sorry to reduce this to an analogy in show business, because, we have spoken about your son before and the impact he had. But what you're talking about is the entertainment, like exactly what you're mentioning about how there's an inacceptance for the individual and vulnerability and struggle, and that's the Australian media right now. And so there's just no tolerance for people that are outside the norm. I guess.
Well, that's the thing. And then you get ostracized for being different, and they're trying to replicate the past and cookie cutter it. But that the true greatness and great shows are authentic viewpoints on something. Because what it resonates and connects with everyone, they seem different, like your son seems different, or you see what you're doing, but there's a connection underlying it. Do you know what I mean? Like even the person that's totally different, there's a truth in it, which if they can just broadcast and find the right resonance, it would connect with everyone. I think everyone can create a good show, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? I think if they can express their authentic self, they will have something. But the thing is that you're not given enough time or enough leeway, and there's too much attempt to sort of merge it in with the past. and go, well, that's not like the fucking what Pickering does. We need the Pickering.
Angie, we need to get Pickering because Pickering's safe and Boomers like it.
Yeah.
The truth is,
Shortcut.
you guys, if you had been continued to make it and you got more and more brave, and then you took the big risk and revealed your truth, you know what I mean? That's the moment. That's the fucking moment. That's what everyone needs. That's entertainment. Don't you think?
I want to, but like for example, anyone can make a good show. Angie had this brilliant routine to Fizzy. Do you remember that Fizzy thing you did?
Yeah.
The physical education piece that you did as a grown woman.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Can you do it for us tonight?
You want me to do some busy?
Yeah,
We're not talking about this sort of stuff.
yeah, that stuff.
Oh yeah,
That busy?
absolutely talking about that. It was totally hardcore in the 80s. Like it was like people were seriously into it. And people still seriously are. Like I think it's Bjorky Peterson is like at the Sydney Opera House every year. The finals are this huge thing. Like it's a crazy thing. But what I did was kind of the uncool version of something that was already uncool. And I tend to do that a lot. Like I do improvisation, right, which is nerd comedy, but then I do musical improvisation, which is the nerd comedy of the nerd comedy. You know, that's my thing.
Yeah. Do you want to get your music?
I would
Do you
love
want
to
to
be
get your
able
music
to
ready?
improvise my stuff.
So you double down on anti.
I will do a little bit of club swinging for you, so you can see what's involved.
Okay. Do you want to get your music ready? Get your music ready, and
I
whatever
don't have
you do.
music. I don't have any music, but I can do a little bit of club swinging. You can see what's involved.
Okay.
Give me a minute. You guys keep talking.
Can I just put a disclaimer? I said anyone can make a show, but I said on the proviso that they're able to reveal them true self, and not many people are. Only the artists can do that or get close to doing it. Do you know what I mean? A Joe Schmo from the shops.
Excuse me.
Are you doing a link too?
Are you calling Angie not an artist? Like,
No, I'm not saying. Can you hear what I'm saying?
no.
I can hear you what you're saying, but what are you
We can hear
saying?
you, but we can't comprehend it.
I was talking before when I said anyone can make a show,
Yes.
but I wanted to put a disclaimer on that. Anyone that was revealing their true self, and I'm saying like you guys can do that. I'm saying, but you can't just get anyone off the street and they're too far away from being honest.
No, exactly. No, I see what you're saying. Yes.
That's what
Well,
I meant. I just didn't want to undermine because I loved your show and it was because you were getting close to being you're doing some interesting shit. So I didn't want you to suddenly think I didn't want suddenly to say, anyone could make a show, implying that any fucking Joe Schmo from Boost Juice.
Yeah.
Andy's going to do a fizzy, so we're just going to.
Good. Yeah, good.
What the hell?
Great. I'm muting you guys except for Ange. Okay, ready? Go.
And so it's can you see this? If I very hard. Sorry, the camera is not great, but can you see what I'm doing?
I'm trying to make you big.
You see?
Yeah. It's so good. All right, everybody can have some comments while she's doing that.
What is that?
It's kind of like like music like take me out to the ball game. I don't care if I never could. And we just do that. And so the other thing was that it's really easy and simple routine.
And that's called
It was
fizzy.
very hard to win. The way that they would like kind of place people is they just make you do it over and over and over again until you just won from pure strength. And if you could get through the routine like 10 times, then you got the gold medal.
It's
And that was busy. Yeah. It was a very funny time in the 90s.
Right.
So good. Rodney, have you got anything you want to plug or talk about, man?
Nah, just in lockdown. It's just good to chat. That's all.
Well, yeah, it is. That's why I invited you, because you're a good friend and you always support.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I was feeling bad
I'm just
because
at home anyway.
Yeah. So you don't do anything else. I
What are you
promise
saying,
I'll do
Wolfie?
your gigs one of these days. What are you going to say, Wolfie?
I was feeling bad because I'm meant to be at my gig at 7, but I didn't want to mention it to you guys because you're in lockdown.
Yeah, that's a bit rude to mention now, Wolfie. Come on,
So I've
man.
been sitting here quietly going
Yeah.
like, fuck.
No,
I have to
Wait,
probably
do you have to
leave
go,
too.
Wolfie? Do you have to go?
Yeah, because it's 7 o'clock. I was
Oh,
meant to
shit.
be at a Rechabite at 7 in 4 minutes time, and I'm a
Okay,
long way.
We gotta go. We gotta end it.
No, but it's not. It's fine, dude. Because like, it's not a big
No,
deal.
let's see him fuck it up. Keep him here. Fuck up
No,
your gig,
you
Wolfie.
know what I did? I need a diary and I need to have a piss. So
I thought Rodney would like this. Someone said to me like last week, "Do you have anything to plug?" And I go, "Yeah, my phone. I need to plug it in." Instead of I thought it was all right. It got no laugh.
Oh, that's good.
Wolfie,
It's not a good one to
Wolfie.
do. Also, plug somebody else, plug a record that you've heard, plug another musician. Oh, this new musician called Billy No Mate. She's from England. She's really good. She's got a new album out. It's really, yeah.
No,
Fitness
Give that a
first. They
listen.
got a great deal.
Yeah.
Wolfie, that was a George Costanza moment. We need to get out on that high because
Okay,
that was
we're
a
out, baby.
That
We're
was a
done.
good joke.
Thank you for your patience, guys.
Thanks everybody. That was a great time. Thanks for seeing you all. Thanks for your contributions.
wanna say-
Love you all.
Anyone can do anything at any age.
That's right.
Yeah,
Hang
don't
on.
be
It's
ageist.
all gone weird.
No. It's okay. Go.
It all
You got the
it's
computer
all
the wrong
good.
way. You
Okay,
messed it
I'm
up.
55 and still alive, and I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I went all around the world to compete in honor of my son. And I'm telling you, if you turn up and you do the time and you are in the right place at the right time, I ended up getting enough points on the international ranking system to become number 1 in the world for my age and a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So it's possible.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. That's
That's
amazing.
great.
There you go, everyone. There's always options.
Okay.
It was always a threat. Did you just threaten the group? You're going to fuck us up. If we mess up.
No,
She's gonna say,
I just want you to know
If you want to prove
that
yourselves, you're going to fight us all.
my
So.
preferred way of dealing with things is choking people and
Choking
breaking
people?
arms.
Oh,
Choking people and I'll get people to
Yeah.
sign waivers to allow me to do it. So I have the best
I
job
don't
in the
reckon.
world.
I reckon I could fight you. I don't reckon you'd be able
That's
to.
what
fight
you
me.
think. You want to succeed.
I'll go lower next
You're going to
year.
get killed,
Listen,
Rodney.
If you want to succeed in life, you have to go through her at the dojo. You've got to beat her.
Listen, Wolfie's going to get to his gig. We've got to end this.
Cheers,
But
guys. Catch you
it's been
later.
a great time. Thank you, everyone.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.